I'm on a journey to platinum every single Skylanders game. I've platinumed every Skylanders game up until this point, so it's time to conclude the series with... This was the last Skylanders game, and the one that is widely considered to be the worst game. So I'm here to find out whether the game is that bad, or if the hate is overblown, on my journey to earn Skylanders Imaginators Platinum Trophy. Before we get into the story, unlike the previous games, Nightmare difficulty is not required for the Platinum. That eliminates an extra playthrough and means I could play on easy, but I'm not going to. I can't play on Nightmare since I need to beat the game to unlock it, so I'll be on Expert for this video. We'll see how much of a difference this makes. We begin with Stealth Elf and Spyro competing in a race, which Stealth Elf wins, when suddenly a purple wisp strikes the Skylanders Academy and enters the library, coming out as this weird monster. The Skylanders try to attack it to no avail, but then 3 of the new Sensei Skylanders come in and the monster retreats. We then cut to Eon explaining how the Skylanders were created by the ancients using mind magic, whom we saw on Swap Force, and this power is now being used to create these monsters, and I'm sure you can guess who's doing that. But we can also use this magic for the new Imaginator Skylanders, which are custom Skylanders that I'll talk more about later, and those Sensei Skylanders can be used to train them. Then we cut to Spyro arriving on the island that Monster went to, which is where I come in.
Stay frosty.
There we go, we got Kingpin. Alright, interesting start so far. After testing out my attacks, I explore the island and take down some chompies, leading me to this room where I found my first Imaginite chest. These give me gear and weapons for my Imaginators, each with different rarities. I later encounter my first Sensei Shrine, which I activate, showing me this pretty wild cutscene and earning me my first trophy. Sky Chi for ye. These shrines activate the Sky Chi power for my Skylander as long as it matches the shrine's class, which in this case was the Brawler class. On the topic of senseis, there are also villain senseis, which are the villains from the previous games. That's pretty dope. I then fight a few more chompies, and we fall through the ground, revealing a door that leads to this maze. After escaping it, I find my first gong, which only senseis can hit, starting a battle with tons of enemies, and I got this trophy after completing it. What? No damage? Complete the gong challenge without taking any damage. Let's go! I'm so good. Didn't even have to try. After this, I remembered I needed to get a sensei to level 20 for the trophy Black Belt, so I chose to focus on Robo to get this trophy ASAP. And no, I did not spend an absurd amount of money to get him or any other Skylander you'll see. I used NFC cards as I did with the previous 2 games, and if you'd like to learn more about this, I linked a very good tutorial in the description. But anyway, I then had to explore these 3 paths to open Imaginite chests and create some bridges, eventually leading to this arena where we encounter Chaos. He uses this book to power up the monster, which is called a Doomlander, starting my first boss fight, and I was already seeing that Expert wasn't a great idea. Alright then, let's do it. You're nothing, dude. Doing 4 and 6 damage though. Okay, 88, oh shoot. Nope. Bro, this fight's gonna take ages. Yeah, that's higher difficulties in Skylanders for you. After dealing a certain amount of damage, Chaos powers the Doomlander up again, giving him an extra attack, and this happens again, allowing him to spawn enemies, but eventually, I finally took him down. There we go, finally. Probably only took that long because I'm on Expert. Chaos then escapes with that book, and I'm given a bunch of Imaginite, ending the chapter. Off and running! We arrive at the mysterious ancient place, aka the MAP, which is this game's overworld, and there are tons of places to go to, including extra levels and the story levels for you to replay. Before continuing with the story, I opened all the Imaginite chests that came from the senseis. Each sensei increases the max level my Imaginators can reach, and some give them extra abilities. And with that in mind, let's talk about my first Imaginator. These are created using these creation crystals, and you get to choose what class your Imaginator will be. Once you lock your choice in, you can choose between any gear and weapons you unlocked from the chests, all of the customization options, and their powers. I'll eventually have to equip an Imaginator with all ultimate gear for the trophy Fear the Gear, which requires a hefty amount of RNG. Hopefully it won't take the entire game to get this. But either way, this is a really cool mechanic, and even if I end up not liking this game, this is the best part of it to me. But going back to the story, I went to the Skylander Academy, but not before seeing an ad for the Skylanders Creator app. Rest in peace to that. But anyway, Hugo tells us that the library was trashed by that Doomlander and that Flynn is trapped in there, so we go to rescue him. I'm introduced to the lock puzzles, which go back to Spyro's Adventure and Giant's Maze style, and if I combine these purple crystals, I'll get an Imaginite chest, and I'll earn a trophy after I solve 9 more of these. We get inside the library and build a bridge out of books to reach Flynn, and he tells me about selfie spots. You can tell this game was made in 2016, but they give me gold and that's about it. By the way, this is one of the few times we'll be seeing Flynn and the others, as they aren't really in this story, unfortunately. But while they're here, Flynn tells us that the Doomlanders stole a book that mentions Imaginite shards in the Mushroom River, so we head there next. The crew meets up with Gil Grunt, who lets them know that 1, the place is full of Imaginite, and 2, that Chaos may be nearby, also looking for Imaginite. After finding a few enemies, I meet up with the Ruptor, who escorts me down the river and leaves me to fight enemies on my own, even though he's also a Skylander. It makes sense with the regular side characters, but I can literally play as these guys. It just seems like they're being lazy as an excuse to make me fight on my own. As we continue through, I'm introduced to these giant caterpillars, which are really easy to deal with, and I push cannonballs onto this platform to reopen the river, and we eventually make it to the next boss fight. This boss fight is against another Doomlander, this time of the Brawler class. I got tired of how long these take with Robo, so since Imaginators are stronger during these, I decided to try mine out. This was a good idea. I used this Meteor Strike ability, and I was kind of frying this fool as much as I could on Expert. During the final phase, the Doomlander starts to spam enemies and this purple attack, but overall, I didn't really like this fight. But after I took him down, I finished the chapter.
2 down.
We then cut to Chaos in his lair as he's confused about why his Doomlanders suck, and Glumshanks kinda roasts him.
Well, it sounds like you've got the magic part down. You're just missing the mind part.
What do you mean, fool?
Glumshanks mentions that the Ancients had a bunch of secrets, and Chaos deflects his stupidity onto the Ancients, and decides to go to the Super Secret Society of Super Secrets. This franchise and its ridiculous names, man. At least we find out it's also known as just Scholarville, and that's where we're going next. But I messed around with a few things first. I equipped a rare weapon on my Imaginator, which earned me a trophy, and I unlocked my first Sensei Elemental Realm, earning me another trophy.
Just getting started.
These are side levels that are accessible if you have a Sensei of the corresponding element. These will be helpful for some trophies down the line, including the ones related to collecting stars. I also tried out Sky Chief for the first time, and...
Dang, bro! Okay, wow. So Sky Chi is overpowered, at least for Taekwon Crow.
At Scholarville, the place is under attack, and we speak to one of the civilians, who tells us that Chaos is inside this castle, looking for the everlasting thinking cap, so we make our way over there. Stealth Elf brings this cannon to my attention and says that we can use it to launch ourselves to the castle. But before we did that, I accidentally got this trophy.
Oh, Demolitionist. Demolitionist. Explode 15 exploding barrels and crates.
I fire myself onto this secret island for a chest, then ride this chain onto the enemy ship where I have to fight a bunch of them, and I'm introduced to this thing.
Who's that? So I just spent a bunch of time fighting those guys, now I gotta fight this thing too? Let's go, I love that. That thing looks like my ex, that's crazy.
After taking it down, I participated in my third Gong battle, and after completing it, I got a trophy.
Oh, we're done. Gong Bonger.
I then activate this contraption to reveal a bounce pad to get up to the surface, where Stealth Elf officially introduces the chains, despite me already using one. On the next island, I open my 50th Imaginite chest, and then I continue to fly around, ride the rails, and fight more enemies until Chaos comes in and makes me fight yet another Doomlander. This was the easiest one so far, as all of his attacks were really easy to dodge. However, the level continues after that since we still needed to stop Chaos from getting the thinking cap. After riding these vines, we reach the castle, but then fall through the floor into the sewers where an evil sea monster resides. The rest of the level just has me traversing the area while the monster tries to attack me, and I have to fight it 3 times. This level drags a lot in my opinion, and the worst part is that Chaos gets the cap and leaves us to fight the monster. So this stupid level wasn't even worth it in the end. I love it. Chaos puts the cap on and looks extremely dumb with it, but then he gets sucked into a portal, leading him to a talking brain who is the last of the Ancients and grants him one question to ask, which is, of course,
Then tell me how to create the ultimate Doomlander.
The brain zaps him, and presumably we'll be seeing better Doomlanders now. Back at the map, Jetvac says a vortex has appeared over Shelmont Shores and that we need to meet him at the academy. While I was there, I bought some upgrades for Robo and found out why he's so sought after.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And then square, triangle, circle. Wow. This dude might be a little good.
I then entered the library where I must find 3 pieces of a vortex destroyer, and after I did so, we were ready to head to Shellmont. But before that, I got a trophy for equipping an epic weapon on my Imaginator.
Really is epic.
At Shellmont Shores, Jetvac almost gets hypnotized by the vortex, but he snaps out of it, and our goal is to get close without being hypnotized or sucked in. During this level, there are a bunch of bananas lying around, and if I eat 5 of them, I'll get the trophy Banana Nuzz. Throughout this one, I was just testing out Robo's new abilities, and yeah, he's just busted. Even when they spammed these annoying Angry Bird things and introduced this thing, I made quick work of them. I eventually reached this room where I found a troll radio that requires me to stop the dial on the glowing parts for a chest, and after I did so, I got one of the star trophies.
No, you cannot get mod. No longer a noob. Earn 5 objective stars. Nice.
These radios are in many other levels, and I'll need to complete 10 in total for the trophy K-Troll King. We eventually get inside the vortex and ride the platforms up, and I eat the 5th set of bananas for the trophy, and after melting this group of enemies, we reach the last section where I have to fight another Doomlander. It's just repetitive at this point, man. And you would think Chaos would know how to make these guys better now that he spoke to the brain, but no, this was still pretty easy. I mean, all it did was try to slice me, turn into a tornado, and summon lightning. I barely took any damage. But after the fight, Jetvac throws the Vortex Destroyer in, sucking it up and ending the chapter.
Storm Stopper.
With the vortex out of the way, the Skylanders are looking out for anything unusual when Chaos appears and gloats about how he created the ultimate Doomlander and shows it to us.
What is that, bruh?
This game is weird, man. Anyway, Spyro tells us to meet Jetvac at the academy because he thinks his old battleship can stop the Guac monster. Max gives us a way up to the fortress where his ship is held, and we head in. The place is being overrun by vultures, and Jetvac sucks them up. I gotta give him some props, at least he's doing something. He tells me to build a robot helper while he scouts ahead, and so I do that.
Hi, how are you doing? Uh-oh, looks like a
More-
vulture battleship is heading our way.
What the?
Oh,
3, 2, 1.
I don't even know what to say about this game. This game is just crazy.
Later on, one of the Vulture's cargo ships arrived, and Jetvac tells me to smash the crates on it with the wrecking ball. So I go inside this room to restore power to it, then kill a few more enemies, allowing me to control the wrecking ball. I just needed to destroy the explosive crates, but if I could destroy every crate, I get the trophy Wrecking Baller. Let's see if I did that.
Alright, I missed that trophy, but oh well.
I mean, I barely tried for it, but we'll come back later. But after knocking these vultures off, we get inside the main hangar and board Jetvac's battleship, where I messed up.
I died? What? Oh my. I got too cocky. I got too cocky, bro. I messed up so bad. That is unfortunate.
Well, that gave me an excuse to use my other Skylanders. But anyway, my goal here was to complete various things on the ship, like activating the engines and loading the main gun to destroy the hangar doors. And after a bunch of fights and walking around, we get inside the ship, and you can probably guess by now that we fight a Doomlander in here. This fight sucked, and I mean in quality, not difficulty. His attacks are so basic, and during the last phase, when Chaos adds a Wrecking Ball, you can damage him with it, so it's just dirt easy. Even Chaos acknowledged that this sucked. But we fly out of here, ending the chapter. With the battleship in our hands, we use it to fight the Guac monster. This starts a basic auto-scroller where we shoot at the monster and dodge its projectiles. Then it's revealed that there's a much bigger one to face, so we shoot 2 of its arms, and finally its head, and take it down. Chaos finds out that we took down his ultimate Doomlander and blames it on the brain even though it was his awful idea. And after he spouts a bunch of nonsense about how they need to be awesomer, the brain gives him the idea to go to Fizzland to unleash the beast. I'm not gonna lie, Chaos is at his dumbest in this game. On the map, Pop Fizz tells us that Fizzland is under attack, and when we get there, Chaos's head starts taunting us, so Pop Fizz tries to attack him.
Bro, he's a hologram. What are you gonna do? Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, he died.
Obviously, he's not dead since he's a Skylander and teleports back from falls, but our goal here is to stop Chaos from getting the Beast Mode potion. This level has a unique mechanic where I can interact with these potions to switch between the normal and Fizz world, changing the terrain and the interactivity of different objects, such as allowing me to move these bottles into trees in the normal world, then switch into the Fizz world so they can burn them. This allowed me to activate this vacuum to suck up these globules that I'd use later. Later on, while fighting this group of enemies, I got Robo to level 20.
There we go, black belt. Alright, I can finally use somebody else. I don't have to only use Robo now.
After defeating those guys, I found those globules again at the sorting area and I was tasked with sorting them. This didn't go very well.
Oh, I'm actually doing it right now. Oh. I haven't gotten a single one in. Nope. Oh. That lowers the count. Oh, that's fun. Bruh, stop spawning them at the same time as the blue ones! Oh my gosh. And that's great, dude. Oh my. How? How did they both fall in? Nope. This is stupid. What? That flew off? Okay, we got it though. That blew majorly. That was not good. That was not fun at all.
Probably a bit of a skill issue, but I definitely don't want to do that again. But that leads to the end of the level, which ends exactly the same as all the other ones. I mean, I'd like to tell y'all more about these Doomlanders, but they're so basic and lame. So after I defeated this fool, I finished the chapter. Chaos crashes out on the brain again, and I didn't clock this at the time, but he literally proved how stupid he is.
Using 200% of our brains together.
Wait, that's not even a real number.
Chat, I'm telling y'all, he's just stupid in this game. But anyway, the brain shows him what happens if he uses 200% of his brain by giving Glumshanks an extra head, and Chaos instantly abuses this. He should have stayed on our side after Superchargers. The brain tells Chaos to break him out of the Golden Arcade while Stealth Elf is spying on them and lets us know. By the way, we're almost 70% through the game, and the main plot is just now starting to pick up. I'm starting to see why people dislike this game. Anyway, Pop Fizz tells us to speak to Baron Von Shellshock since he travels all over Skylands for card tournaments, which leads us to this game's version of Skystones, Creation Clash. This version goes back to the original style of Skystones from Giants, where each stone has blades on it, and if you play a stone next to an enemy stone with fewer blades on it, you capture it, and the goal is to have more stones than the enemy. The only differences are that you can see the enemy stones, and that you don't unlock any stones, the game just chooses for you. I've never been a huge fan of Skystones, but it does suck to see it watered down like this. But after defeating Shellshock, he tells me where the Golden Arcade is, and we head out. When we arrive, some rats are being thrown out by the bouncer, and they tell me to ring the doorbell. After doing so, he gets angry, and the four of us jump him. Then one of my favorite Skylanders, Trigger Happy, appears, stuck in a balloon, and I use this cannon to pop a bunch of other balloons, and then his. He then invites me inside to witness his musical act, and we literally drop in during it. I meet up with Wolfgang's twin, Sal, and he shows me the arcade's vault. He offers to help me break into it, but I need to prove myself as a player. And that's what makes this level unique. It's less combat based and more about interacting with the arcade. This starts with me fighting this bot that's called Creation Clasher in Creation Clash.
If I beat you on the first try, I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's just disappointing for you.
Well, he did beat me because I fumbled really badly here, but I beat him on the next try. Sal then made me hunt ducks using coins, and then use those coins to lower these platforms. I was rewarded with one of those slot machine chests for doing all this, and then I rode on these rails, leading to
the Plushy Plaza. We used to call it a loser's pit, but you know, we gotta be politically correct nowadays.
Okay.
After dealing with some enemies, I got this new Imaginator to level 6, allowing me to use my first ultimate weapon.
So we can use the Lollipopper, not a myth anymore. And I think I could just do an entire ultimate fit now.
Nah, I couldn't do it yet. I still needed leg guards. Again, let's hope this doesn't take super long. I then destroy another fool in Creation Clash, allowing me to continue through the level, and I eventually go down this slide to reach the final challenge, which is not this group of enemies, but this.
Alright, let's play the video game. What on earth am I looking at?
I don't know, but these peppermints give points, and I wasn't aware that there was a trophy for earning 4,000, so we'll have to come back for that. Unfortunately, Chaos is also in here and can spawn another Doomlander, making this the one unique Doomlander fight. And it became stupid at the end since he added fireball shooting spell punks, but I eventually took it down after losing both of my Imaginators. Finally, I grind these rails around the vault to break its locks, and it's revealed that the brain was inside, and he flies off to find Chaos.
Hardcore gamer.
Now that the brain is with Chaos in person, he gets on Chaos's head, amplifying his mind, and they decide to release a mind-controlling wave across Skylands that even affects the Skylanders, not including Spyro since he's a dragon, and buffs Chaos's base. Finally, the story's going somewhere. Spyro tells us that dragon magic stopped the brain years ago, so we ride Sharkfin's boat up to the Dragon Temple to get some. When we get there, however, the dragons are missing, and the sheep who also live here have turned evil. Throughout this level, I have to fight off the sheep, including this big one called a barbarian. I also have to watch out for tripwires and build bridges out of different materials, which was in a previous game. At one point, I made it to this fork where I needed to choose between the fire and ice path.
Okay, pick a number between 1 and 2. We're going for ice.
The ice path required me to push a bunch of ice cubes around to traverse through. I later had to make another choice between a room of puzzles or a room of combat. I chose the combat path since I wanted more XP and because combat is more fun than puzzles. The next part of the level just has me fighting more enemies and continuing through the island until I reach the temple, where, you'll never believe it, I had to fight another Doomlander. This was against a bowslinger, and once again, it didn't get difficult until extra enemies were added. I'm running out of things to say about these guys, bro. These boss fights are easily one of the weakest parts of the game. After the fight, Spyro comes in with the dragons, and they turn everyone back to normal. As a reward, I get to glide down the Skylands with these dragon wings, ending the chapter.
There we go, getting serious here. Earn 10 objective stars, and Brainwash Buster.
With the Skylanders back to normal, Jetvac tells us that he has a plan on how to deal with Chaos's force field and directs me to Pop Fizz. And this starts the worst section of the game. So we're tasked with building a giant cave for Chaos that we'll hide inside of, and I need to find 8 ingredients. I was thinking this would be like a 10-minute quest maximum. Instead, it was over an hour. I had to play through a bunch of mini levels to get each ingredient, and they repeat areas as well. For example, I had to play through Battlefield Blitz twice, and the only difference was the objectives. These would take between 5 and 10 minutes to complete, and remember, this is not a chapter. The only silver lining to this is that since I was repeating the same areas, I got 2 of the 3 trophies for completing 3 adventures in certain locations, which were No Madness for You and Great Gladiator, so Local Liberator will have to wait until after the story. But yeah, this section is awful. Let's move on to the actual chapter where Eruptor, Max, and I are at an abandoned amusement park to build the cake. However, as Max was building it, she got attacked by rats, so I had to deal with them, while Eruptor's excuse for not helping this time is that he's afraid of rats. Maybe Chaos is right, these guys are sky losers. Our first goal is to reactivate the frosting cannon by pushing these eels back in, and then I get to control the cannon and shoot the frosting onto the clear parts while also having to shoot the enemies on it as they'll destroy the frosting. It's a good thing this cake is fake because those bugs and rats have definitely contaminated it. After finishing the frosting, we were gonna put candles on it, but the rats stole them. So I had to chase them throughout this floating factory. I eventually reached this area with falling rocks, and there's a trophy here for destroying 25 of them. So I sat here and shot every rock I could, and eventually got it.
No hill too steep. There we go.
Later, I got another trophy after completing my 10th lock puzzle, and I eventually reached the end where I faced the final Doomlander. This one actually gave me a little trouble because of this red thing that bounces all over the place and gets free hits on me, but I'm glad to be done with these Doomlanders. Not a single one was good. We fly the cake to Chaos's lair, where we start the final chapter. We act as if we're paying tribute to Chaos with this evil cake, and the brain and Glumshanks rightfully call us out. But remember, Chaos is stupid in this game, so he lets us in and our dumb plan works. But dumber than that, this dude has created ugly clones of himself. I'm sorry, I can't take this story seriously anymore. The level has me fighting these weirdos and completing laser reflection puzzles. At one point, Glumshanks comes in and welcomes us to Chaos's challenge, where we must complete his obstacle course made of mind magic. We're also going against him on the scoreboard, and there's a trophy here for scoring too many points. I'm not gonna beat around the bush, I didn't even get close to this trophy. After defeating the last enemies and solving the last puzzle, I made it to his castle. So it was time for the final boss, where the brain powers Chaos up and turns him into
What the? This dude turned into a Saiyan? What?
So Chaos releases shockwaves and a damaging field around him, so melee Skylanders weren't to play, and he spawns his Doomlanders in, and this is honestly the only time they're used well. And this is actually all the fight is. He does the same attacks while the Doomlanders spam attacks, and it was hard to keep up with the projectiles and where I was at times. After some time, he gets mad at the brain for how bad the Doomlanders are, so he lets Chaos fight without his help, and man, Chaos sucks on his own. He spawns groups of Doomlanders, and then despawns them while still doing the same shockwaves. After this dirt easy phase, the brain turns on Chaos since we have a better imagination than him, and buffs my Imaginators. Yeah, in hindsight, this fight gets way too easy. But here's when I beat him.
And there we go! There we go, the final boss done. Again, Chaos is done again. We got ultimates finally. Give me some leg armor, and that'll be great.
I did not get ultimate legs. As the brain tries to escape, he gets caught by Jetpack and offers to help us with the rest of the evil in the world, and puts Chaos and Glumshanks into his jar, ending the story.
Savior of Skyland 6.
Yeah, I don't really like this story. Some of the levels were cool, but none of them stood out like the previous games, the Doomlanders were repetitive, and the plot was just not good in my opinion. I'll give more thoughts on the game before we get to Platinum, but as for the story, definitely my least favorite. But with the story done, I had to go back through a few chapters to get their specific trophies. Before I get into these, I do want to drop another complaint. I really do not like having to find each chapter on the map. It just makes it unnecessarily annoying to find a certain chapter when you could have just given me a menu like the previous games. I mean, just use Swap Force or Supercharged ideas. Those were great ways to make the chapter select cooler. Anyway, complaining aside, let's get into the trophies. In chapter 2, I needed to abandon Eruptor on the raft. It's better to just show you how I did this.
Hey, I'm back. Did you miss me?
Alright, just jump in the water. There we go. I'll take the next one.
He deserves that for how useless he was during the story. In chapter 5, I had to try to destroy all the crates again. I heard this trophy was a little tough, so now that I was truly focusing on it, let's see how it went.
No, don't hit that. Hit that. Easy. Wrecking Baller. Easy trophy.
Maybe it's the stress of the timer that makes it tough? I don't know, it was easy for me. Chapter 6 had a pretty simple trophy that required me to destroy 9 trees with the fizz bottles. So I just replayed the level and made sure to burn every tree I saw, and eventually got it.
Fizzy Landscaping.
Moving to chapter 7, I needed to score 4,000 points during the video game. Again, another simple one, I just destroyed all the peppermints and balloons to reach the goal.
There we go, King of Cake. That was easy.
In chapter 8, I had to visit every island while descending from the temple. To ensure I didn't somehow mess this up, I followed this video on the trophy guide for an optimal route, and after visiting the last one, I should have gotten the trophy.
And then we just glide to the end.
Level complete.
I didn't get the trophy. I literally went to every single one. I literally visited every single one. I did exactly what the video told me to do.
No, I did not. You see this island with an Imaginite chest on it? When I saw in the video that it gives a common shard, I said,
It's just a common. That's just common. I'm not doing that.
well, I should have done that because that's an island. So I had to restart the whole level because of my ignorance and made sure to take that common tail and got the trophy this time.
There we go, the ultimate tourist.
And finally, in the last chapter, I had to score too many points on the scoreboard. Too many points equal 10,000, and to reach that, I had to farm the infinitely spawning enemies in the last section. This took some time since each one only gives 50 points, but after about 15 minutes, I got the trophy, and this happened.
There we go, big winner. Straight up destroyed the scoreboard.
With the chapter-specific trophies done, there were still some miscellaneous things I needed to work on. I first took a selfie in the Hall of Selfies.
Album is full. What? Why is there an album limit? Are you serious? There we go, self-reflection.
And then I had to win 10 Creation Clash matches. I only had 2 left at this point, and I got washed on both of the first rounds, but I came back in the second round and got the trophy.
Hey, Clash Titan.
While doing these and the other trophies, I was also completing any troll radio I found for the trophy K-Troll King, but my next objective was to earn 20 objective stars. Each level has 3 stars to collect, one for completing the level, one for collecting things in the level, and one for completing dares in the level. I could have gone back through all the levels to get the missing stars, but I instead decided to complete some of the extra levels to experience more of the game and get extra radios. This includes a Crash Bandicoot themed level. Yeah, Crash and Neo Cortex are playable characters with their own level. Apparently they aren't good characters, but they're here, and this level was pretty cool. Cortex is trying to use the rhythmic energy of Woompa Island to power his machine, when a Bandicoot crawls into it and blows it up, and Aku Aku tasks us with removing the bad vibes generated from it. And the level just has me going through the island to do exactly that. This level is so well themed around Crash, to the point where you even have obstacle courses to unlock with them and these Galaxian type minigames with Cortex. At the end of the level, I had to fight against the fake Crash, and this blows every other boss fight out of the water. I'm glad they at least put effort into this level. But after some time, I found myself at the last level where I finally completed the 10th radio.
K-Troll King. It took that long to do 10 of those, wow.
I also decided to get all 3 stars on this one for the Star Voyager trophy, and after playing this 3 times, I got the star trophies.
Hey, there we go, Star Voyager. Nice. Oh, and well, that's high. That was the 20th star as well. Awesome.
Next, I went back for Local Liberator, which required me to complete 3 adventures in Calamity Town or Trouble Town. I ended up wasting time because I didn't pay attention and repeated the other levels instead, so that was a nice waste of 20 minutes, including how boring the correct levels were, but I eventually finished the last one. Now there were 2 trophies left, and one of them was still Fear the Gear for equipping all ultimate gear. Yup, I went through all of that and never got ultimate leg armor. Don't you guys love RNG? Thankfully, there's a chest farming method. You take this bomb from the Dragon Island and go all the way back to the bottom and to this well and blow it up, revealing a hole containing 2 chests. You can respawn them by going in and out of the battle arena, and then you repeat the process. This took about 12 minutes of farming, and eventually...
Oh my gosh, finally! There it is. There it is, leg guards. It should not have taken that long to get some freaking legs, bro. That is stupid. Fear the Gear. Should not have taken the entire game to get that.
And finally, I needed to go down a rabbit hole on the map. As you're walking around, you can find a rat and chase it down until it digs a hole, and you just fall in. And yes, the trophy description calls it a rabbit hole when it's a rat digging it. I don't know why. But before I show this last trophy, let me get some final thoughts. I unfortunately do agree that this is the worst Skylanders game. Going over the positives, I really enjoyed the senseis, and characters like Robo and Blastertron are some of my new favorite Skylanders, and the Imaginators are just great. I'm surprised it took them this long to add custom Skylanders. But outside of that, as I said, I don't like the story. I don't want to ramble for too long, so I'll save my full thoughts on it for another time, and the post-game was alright. Obviously, I didn't explore every bit of it, so maybe I missed a few gems, but at the end of the day, it's not a bad game, just the weakest Skylanders in my opinion, and here's my updated ranking now that I've finished every game. But with that said, here is the final Skylanders Platinum.
There it is! Secret Spelunker and... Frolander. There we go! Skylanders Imaginators is done, and that's the end of the Skylanders series. Definitely an interesting game to end off on, but I really enjoyed the series. It was good.
I was gonna say there's no way to track my time played, but while getting extra footage, I noticed it was tracking my hours, so apparently it took me 18 hours to get this platinum. And that is the end of Skylanders. Thank you so much for the support on these videos. I had a lot of fun making them. For the last time, I have to give a huge shout out to my homies Gianmarco and Zayas, as without them letting me borrow their Skylanders and Gianmarco letting me borrow his copy of Trap Team, this series wouldn't have been possible even though I switched to NFC cards in the later games. And Gianmarco let me keep all the Skylanders, so that's pretty cool. But with this and LEGO Dimensions done, there's one more Toys to Life franchise we can do, and you'll be seeing that one sooner than you think. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. If you ever want to see these platinums live, I stream here on YouTube every Friday through Sunday at 1 PM Pacific time. And if you missed the previous Skylanders videos, click the playlist on the end screen, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.